Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. Alright, the last time I had this coat and scarf on, I was moaning to you guys about the GMT and the fact that RSC had not aligned the bezel insert properly. If you look behind me, you can see it's raining today and it's extremely cold. It's December temperatures, so I had to break out the coat and the scarf. I was shivering trying to make this video earlier. Alright, so yesterday's video defining the Schier had some great comments, and I wanted to talk about a few. One was Jay Sikes' comment. He makes the distinction between a Schier and a beater, and I think that's worthwhile. I think often people look at the price of a watch and that's a factor in whether it's a shitter or not. You know, I think Archie might do that. If it's below $5,000, with the exception of the Speedmaster, it's a shitter, right? But I think if you're a little bit more thoughtful, and I hope to be, I think you can look at cheap watches as beaters and legitimate watches that don't participate in shitterdom. So that's a useful distinction. I would say that this is a good beater, okay? But I wouldn't call it a Schier, and it doesn't, you know, it doesn't carry the qualities that, you know, we defined makes up a Schier, which were wholly dependent on a third-party movement, extreme outsourcing, not having their own factory, having to outsource pretty much everything. The more outsourcing, the worse. Fake history, bought and purchased history. You know, it's amazing that you could buy a name, and along with it, you can attribute what you're putting out. You can attribute a whole history to what you're putting out. It's amazing that works. It is the way it works, though. You know, you pay for a name, and along with it comes the history. And even though you're putting out a completely different product than what was put out in the 60s and 70s, you can still lay claim to that history as if the products you're putting out are of the same ilk, or of the same quality, or of the same, bloodline, when it's nothing but name only. All right. Jay Sikes also talks about another element, and that's, he puts it as Schiers punch above their weight, which is a good way to put it. Another way to put it is they overestimate their brand status, or they would have you overestimate their brand status. I think that they know they're Schiers, but they want to create the illusion that they have much more brand status than they do. They're on par with some of the best companies. You know, they would have you believe that. I think another element of a Schier is that they're often overpriced, and the overpricing coincides with that attempt at creating the illusion of more brand status than is actually there. Oftentimes we attribute, and it's through a lack of knowledge and ignorance, we attribute quality and value to the price on a product. I think, you know, that I did this the other day. I was searching for iPhone cases on eBay, and you know, they had 100 yen iPhone cases and 200 yen iPhone cases, and what did I end up buying? An 800 yen iPhone case. Now was it eight times as good as the 100 yen iPhone case? Probably not. They're both made in China. This one had a few features I liked, but it was 8 times the price. Probably not 8 times as good. And part of the reason I went for it was I thought, I don't know a lot about iPhone cases, but this is 800 yen, and this is 100 yen. So the 800 one has to be better, right? It's more expensive, right? I mean, there's got to be a reason. Well, sometimes there's not a reason. Sometimes the reason is to create the illusion of value and quality, and it works with the uninformed. Somebody sees, my $170 watch, and they see a $900 watch, and they don't know a lot about watches, and they might think, well, the $900 watch is clearly better. It has to be. It's more expensive. Or they would think that the $200 watch is, clearly inferior. Otherwise, it would be more expensive. Now, again, mineral crystal, sapphire crystal. Okay, that's a difference, and that is a $900 watch should have a sapphire crystal. Let's just put it that way. Okay, a $500 watch, I think, should have a sapphire crystal. But that price, I think it is an attempt to create the illusion of value to those who aren't in the know. One thing I've learned throughout my years is that generally people don't know much about things. They don't know much about, X, fill in whatever that is. It could be movies or watches or cameras. People just, there's a real lack of knowledge out there. And, one example would be movies. What's a hugely successful and popular movie? Titanic. All right, well, I didn't see Titanic for months when it came out, but I heard about it, and everybody was saying it was so good. And when I finally saw it, I thought it was at best average. And I realized that people's taste is it's not really refined. It's most people, there's just a lack of knowledge and taste. And so, when you present them with two very similar objects, and one's really overpriced, then they're going to think it's naturally better, right? I think that's your average person. And then if you've got a guru who has a Speedmaster and a Submariner, and they're backing this watch, that's enough to flip a person. So there's 2 more definitions, I think, 2 more elements to the definition of a Schier that I think we should add. Man, this cold is doing me in. All right, well, thanks for watching. See you next time.